Hello there everyone, this is Rakus96 here coming at you with another tutorial. This will be the second tutorial up on this channel, and today's tutorial is going to show you how to turn a normal 6-clip or a 6-mag from the Nerf N-Strike clip system into a mini-mag. For those of you that do not know, the mini-mags, if you're doing any modified blasters, this is just a strife. Put it in there. The normal mag sits in the bottom there, while the mini mag sits up there nice and flush. You just see the bottom lip here. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of these. So first off, things you are going to need is a N-Strike magazine. This is a old magazine, orange clear on both sides. You are also going to need a Sharpie. This one just so happens to be black. The Sharpie will just be to trace the plastic that we will put on the bottom. There is the Sharpie. You will need a screwdriver to take out the 2 Phillips head screws on the bottom here. Mine is just so happens to be the perfect size for that. I use it in all my Nerf work. Third, you are going to need some kind of plastic. This plastic here is what we will be using to cover up the bottom of the magazine, as well as attach our spring for the feeding mechanism. And the last and one of the final things we're going to need is a hot glue gun. Definitely going to need one of these because that's what's going to hold the bottom plate on. We're also going to need some kind of cutting tool, either a plastic cutter. Go big or go home here. You can use a hacksaw. I would probably recommend this over one of the hobby blades because, well, you can cut it through all at one shot. Or, as I'm going to use today, a Dremel with a cutting wheel. Why do manual labor if you don't have to? Alright, so to start the process, we're going to go right on in here with the screwdriver and just take these right on out. Throw our screws right to the side. Now, once we're done with this, we will unfortunately not be using the screws anymore. And that will actually, doesn't matter if you lose these or not, I usually just throw mine to the side here and let them be. And when you do that, you could basically pull the magazine apart. What you're going to want to do is, if you have any kind of knife or anything, there's the bottom spring location right here. It's going to go on in, and we're just going to pull that off. So that way we can take the spring right out. That way this does no longer shoot out and spring anywhere. We're just going to lay it right next to our screws. So next, unfortunately, they glue the side here. So the only way to do it is I'm actually going to do it with the hobby saw. Actually get in here. Let's see if I can saw it apart without causing too much damage to the magazine. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. But fortunately, you can always just pull it apart. There we go. That's what the gym is for. There we go. So now we have our magazine separated. Unfortunately, did have to break that, but we'll actually be using a little bit of super glue or hot glue, depending on what you have lying around, to actually fix that problem. So now what we're going to do is we're going to leave this just sitting here as is. We're going to go ahead and take our cutting device. We're going to cut right at the bottom of this line right here. We really want to leave as much as we can because we want to get it nice and flush. So we're actually going to take the little ridge off here as well. Well, we're going to go ahead and do that. You can use, like I said, either your hobby cutter, your hacksaw, or your Dremel if you're experienced with power tools or old enough to use power tools. The Dremel is personally the way to go. Otherwise, the hacksaw is actually not a bad way to do it. So, for the hacksaw, you just start going right across here. Yeah, yes, I am using the hacksaw first here rather than the Dremel, because I really want to get a defined line before I go ahead and use the Dremel all the way across. So now, personally, now that I have that defined line, and where I can be and where I can't be, I'm going to come on in with my Dremel and just start going away at it. Alrighty, so here we are with the bottom cut off. You can get rid of all the extra stuff on here. See it all kind of just falling off of there. Because what the Dremel does, it actually kind of melts the plastic because it spins just so fast on there. Next, what we're going to do is, well, kind of shove this all over me. There we go, I can wipe it off. There we go. The bottom of the magazine, the bottom of it, unless you're going to make a dart carrier out of it, you can definitely do that. I have done it. It is a little inefficient because you can only really put 2 darts in there. But anyway, that is for another day. I usually just go ahead and just throw them out. But for this, I'll just throw it to the side. I am now covered in plastic. That wasn't too smart. Alright, so what we're going to do now is, if you have access to any kind of sandpaper or anything, you're just going to want to go over this just to get the extra stuff off. But I will be using my knife here to kind of get all the extra, all this stuff here. It's kind of just caked on. There we go. I actually do have a little bit of extra plastic here. So not the right way to be doing this, like that. Get the Dremel back out. And then you always want to make sure you have a flat surface. Like right there is clearly not flat. And that's what I'm going to come in and change right now. Alrighty, so that right there is pretty much as good as I'm going to be able to get it. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and take all this extra bulk here off. That was actually stuck on there. There we go. That'll be nice in here. Let me just get all this off. There we go. Okay, then once you have all the debris out, really want to make sure that's a pretty good flat surface. Won't be able to get much better than that. You want to go ahead and make sure that both sides are clean as possible. You don't have to actually physically wash them, because next step is we're just going to place it together, get a piece of plastic out, and you're going to now trace the bottom of the magazine to make sure we get a proper cover when we need it. So that's that side. That side, you can kind of connect the dots with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can always trim it once it's on. There we go. So that's a pretty good sketch. You want to just blow on it just a little bit, just to let it dry. Get some junk off, you guys. There you go. So we're all nice and clean. The next step, we're going to need some scissors. Right? We're just going to need to get on in here. You can either cut on the line or cut over the line, one way or the other. Just cut around the sketch you made. Right there. There we go. Just going to follow the line as good as I can. Alrighty, so then this is where some opinion comes in play. So now, to attach the spring, I have covered everything in little bits of plastic. That's going to be a problem. To attach the spring, when the spring is in here, it goes in this way. Alright, little spot up. So, to attach the bottom, I'm going to flip it around this way. Because what we're going to do is we're going to essentially glue this here, as if it were the bottom of the magazine. So what we're going to do first, we're going to take our hot glue gun, put a small bead right there on the end, right, closer to one side than the other. You're going to go ahead and take the spring, I'm just going to let it sit right there. You're actually going to have to physically hold it there for a while. And while that's happening, you can use both hands. Please be very careful. You're going to apply more hot glue to that. And also on the other end down here. Again, avoiding your finger, of course. Don't want to burn ourselves. If you could, you can wear gloves. Just be as safe as possible, guys. If you don't feel comfortable using a hot glue gun, please have someone help you. And also, please wear eye protection. I am wearing eye protection at the present moment from using the Dremel. And I would not recommend operating any kind of that stuff without any kind of safety eye protection or eyeglasses, because not having it could be a problem, and having it can also save your eyes, guys. It's not too much fun when you get something shot at your eye. You know, the near-death experiences when it just misses, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So once this, you can kind of barely wiggle this back and forth. It will kind of just stay on its own. You can kind of just let that sit for a little bit, as long as you prop it up against something. In this case, we will use the magazine as our tool. There we go. We just let it rest up against that. And you're going to want to clean up your workspace a little bit. So that's just going to be putting away your scissors, your cutting devices. For me, the Dremel's already away. We're going to want to get everything important and completely clean off the workspace, because what we're going to do next is very important that we keep everything as clean as possible. So, workspace clean, everything out of the way. We won't need any of that here. Get my stands out of the way. Alrighty, and this will be the opportunity we have to just get everything where it needs to be. Get everything ready to be thrown away. Alright, now that that is pretty much rock solid, what we're going to do now is reinsert the top of the magazine and slide it in and see how it's going to fit. So the way it is right now, I should be able to get that in there pretty flush. So what you're going to do, you're just going to let that hang there. You're going to set some hot glue all the way around the edge there. All the way around the edge. Both sides. You don't have to use too much, but use as much as you feel comfortable with. Overgluing is no problem. And you're just going to simply press it right on top. Please be aware of your hands. Hot glue is very, very, very hot. It does burn. So once you have that in there, you're just going to keep constant pressure on it. We want it to be mostly flat. We don't want many high spots. Having high spots is no problem, but you always want to make sure it is somewhat flat. I use way too much hot glue there, but as an example, to show you, it doesn't matter how much you use, you'd rather overuse than underuse. And then once you have it mostly set, you can go ahead and just put it right back on your counter and just push down. Push down like so. Make sure that everything sets. We want the hot glue just to dry as quickly as possible. That way we do not have an issue with... Actually, I think that's it. I think that's going to do it. So now we see that my sketch was just a little over on this side. At that point, we can go ahead and, if you wanted to, take back out your scissors and just recut it. Cut right over the edges. There you go. As good as it's going to get. Alright, so that is how you do the bottom of a mini mag, and any extra hot glue you can just peel off at this point and just kind of leave it be. The next step, and this video is actually going for way too long. I thought it would be under 10 minutes. That is my fault. Next step is going to be to get out either your more hot glue, or I prefer to use super glue because this will be the aesthetic. You're just going to put some hot glue, some super glue, right down on top of where it unfortunately broke, and all the way down the side of the magazine to hold it nice in place. Flip it over to the other side. Try your best not to super glue your hands, because I don't know how many times I've done that and ended up walking away. So you're trying to figure out what I was trying to do. You also want to make sure you're not trying to... You want to keep... While you're super gluing and while the super glue is drying, you want to keep moving this right here to make sure that this is not getting super glued or stuck in place by any means. So that should actually... It should be fine once the super glue dries. Alright, while this is drying, just to give you a quick update, I have a lot of projects going on at the moment. In frame, you cannot see any of them. Unfortunate. But, yeah, I do have a lot of things going on. Not that are just lying around, though, unfortunately. I did actually make really, really good progress on one project, as well as that will be in a whole update video. So as this is now, this is pretty much set. Just have a little bit of excess glue drying on one of the brakes here. So what we're going to do, just to show that this is still fully operational, I'm just going to go ahead and see how many darts we can get into this magazine. All right, here I have 5 elite darts and 1 modulus elite dart. We're just going to go ahead and load these up. 2, 3, 4. Alright, looks like this is going to be a 4-clip. Unfortunately, in this trying to push the 4th dart out, the spring is actually hitting on the bottom. So just to show, we're going to put this back into the strife here. It is actually a tight fit because that just popped out. Alright, so it is a 3-clip. Stand corrected. It's a 3. Something is tight here. If I remember correctly, when it broke, it did pop out a little bit here. Just take that off, that's no problem. There we go. There we go, right up into the bottom. And it feeds properly, if not better than an original 6-mag. And that purely being because of the one, you can see the compressed spring in the bottom, as how long you guys saw it all the way up to here. It is now completely compressed in the bottom of that. This is a 3-dart clip, when this one is a 4. That all depends on your position of your spring in there, and just how you use it in a Nerf war. Personally, I would never use a mini clip in a Nerf war. It's more for Nerf mods, aesthetic mods, if you're going for a certain look, with a cosplay blaster or anything like that. That would be the only way I would use a mini clip. But that just goes to show you the cool things you can do if you have too many 6 clips, like I do. I have way too many. And that's just some of the cool things you can do with them. If you have too many, you can always just make one a mini mag, and if you're really cool, you can paint the bottom any color you want. This one just so happens to be black. Just to show you, this one does take 4. It is a very tight fit, but it does take 4. And there you go. Doesn't even try to push it out. Probably fit 5 if I really wanted to. Just to show. Yeah, that would actually take 5, no problem. There's 5 darts in there. So guys, this is how you make a mini mag. And then of course, you can always go ahead to remind yourself, go on there and mark how many darts you can take. Alright guys, so thank you very much for watching this video. If this uploads, because it should be very long, I will try to edit out most of the BS. Thank you guys very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you guys are liking the tutorials, I believe one of mine should be up right about now, should be the Streamline one. So thank you guys very much. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in a next and upcoming video.